I shouldn't be writing this. The alert explicitly said to power down all devices. But here I am, typing this out on my phone with the brightness turned all the way down, crouched in my basement utility closet. I need to document what's happening. Someone needs to know. It started just after 7:30 this morning. Tuesday, May 7th. I was making coffee, getting ready for another mind-numbing day at the insurance office. Just a normal fucking morning in Cedar Rapids. The weather report said rain later. Standard Midwest spring bullshit. Then every phone in the house went off simultaneously. That harsh, grating emergency alert tone. You know the one. It makes your stomach drop even when it's just a flash flood warning. My wife Lisa was in the shower. My kid Jack was still asleep upstairs, but I was standing right there in the kitchen, coffee pot in hand, when I read it. Emergency alert. 0732. Central Standard Time. National Infrastructure and Safety Agency. Sector 73, F Initiation Code, Blackwall. National Infrastructure and Safety Agency? Never heard of it. No FEMA logo, no Homeland Security branding, just this agency I'd never heard of before. I kept reading. This is an official federal emergency broadcast for residents within zip codes beginning in 681, 682, and 683. That's us. That's all of eastern Iowa. Please follow these instructions carefully. 1. Cease all outgoing communication. Do not attempt to call, text, or post on any public platform. 2. Immediately power down all wireless-capable devices, including smartphones, computers, and smart home systems. 3. Remain inside. Lock all entry points. Do not answer your door for any person, regardless of uniform or identification. 4. Await physical instruction packet delivery by 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. You will receive one. Do not touch any packet not addressed to your household. If you see or hear aircraft, remain away from windows. Do not record or observe flyovers. Failure to comply may result in indefinite detainment under Emergency Operations Directive C, 1984. This message will not repeat. I read it twice, trying to make sense of it. My first thought was it had to be some kind of mistake or a hoax. But the formatting was official. The alert came through the emergency broadcast system. My hands started shaking. Lisa came downstairs in her bathrobe, dripping wet, clutching her phone. "What the fuck is this?" she asked, her face pale. "Did you get this too?" I nodded. We both stood there for a moment, just staring at each other. "Should we wake Jack?" she asked. "No," I said. "Not yet. Let me check." I opened Twitter. Nothing unusual. Facebook was normal. No breaking news alerts. But then I noticed something. Posts weren't refreshing. The most recent update on any platform was from 7:31, 1 minute before the alert. I tried to make a post myself. Error message. Tried to send a text to my brother in Des Moines. Wouldn't go through. Tried to call my mom in Iowa City. Call failed. I looked out the kitchen window. Our street looked normal. Quiet. A few cars in driveways. Mrs. Wallace across the street getting her newspaper. Nothing unusual except no birds. Not a single one. The massive oak tree in our front yard usually hosts dozens of sparrows and the occasional cardinal. Dead, silent. "Turn on the TV," Lisa said. I grabbed the remote. Local stations were showing normal morning programs. National news too. But then I noticed they were all showing pre-recorded segments. No live anchors, no weather reports, no local news. I changed to CNN. Breaking news banner, but it was about something in Europe. Nothing about Iowa. Nothing about an emergency. "This has to be a mistake," Lisa said, but her voice cracked. She didn't believe it either. That's when we heard the first helicopter. It wasn't the usual medical chopper heading to the university hospital. This was louder, heavier, military grade. And it was close, right over our neighborhood. I walked toward the window. "Don't!" Lisa grabbed my arm. "The alert said stay away from windows if we hear aircraft." "That's fucking ridiculous," I said, but I stopped anyway. Something about the wording of that instruction sent a chill through me. Why wouldn't they want us to see? I turned back to the TV and flipped to our local CBS affiliate. Their morning show had been replaced by a test pattern. Same with NBC, and ABC, and Fox. All local channels were now showing color bars or technical difficulties screens. "Wake Jack," I said. "I'll check the doors." While Lisa went upstairs, I locked our front and back doors, pulling the blinds closed on all first-floor windows. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. I tried 911 on my phone. Nothing. No connection. That's when I noticed the silence. No distant traffic sounds from the highway. No lawnmowers or leaf blowers that usually punctuate Tuesday mornings. Even the hum of our refrigerator seemed abnormally loud in the silence. Lisa came back down with Jack, who was rubbing sleep from his eyes, clutching his tablet. "Dad, my games aren't working," he said, "and the Wi-Fi is out." I took the tablet from him and confirmed, no internet connection. I checked my phone again. No cellular data either. I looked at Lisa. "We need to follow the instructions. Power everything down." "Are you serious? What if this is our only way to get information?" "What if it's not?" I said. "What if—" I glanced at Jack, not wanting to scare him. "What if there's a reason they don't want wireless signals out there?" Lisa looked like she was about to argue. Then her eyes widened as she heard what I heard. Another helicopter, and then another. A formation of them, from the sound of it. "Jack, buddy," I said, kneeling to his level. "We're going to play a game today. It's called Quiet House. We need to turn off all our electronics and stay very quiet inside. Like a snow day, but different." He looked skeptical but didn't argue. 10-year-olds are still young enough to be convinced by a parent's confident tone, even when it's completely fake. "Go power down your tablet and any other devices in your room," I told him, "then get dressed and come back down for breakfast." After he went upstairs, Lisa grabbed my arm hard enough to leave marks. "Tell me what you're thinking," she whispered. "I don't know," I said honestly, "but this isn't a normal alert. This isn't a weather emergency or an Amber Alert. This is something else, something big, and until we know what it is, I think we should comply." "What about the neighbors? Should we check on Dean and Ruth? They're in their 80s. I hesitated. The alert specifically said to stay inside. "Let me look outside first," I said. I went to our front door and peered through the peephole. The street still looked normal, except for one thing. There were now several other people standing in their yards or driveways, looking up at the sky. I couldn't see what they were looking at from my angle. I was about to open the door when a new sound cut through the air. Sirens. Not emergency vehicle sirens, but the old civil defense sirens from the Cold War era. They tested them once a month, but this wasn't the first Tuesday, and this wasn't the usual test pattern. This was the actual alarm. The one that meant take cover immediately. I stepped back from the door. Through the peephole, I watched my neighbors react to the sirens. Most ran inside their homes. A few stood frozen, looking confused. Mrs. Wallace was still in her bathrobe on her front lawn, staring up at the sky, completely still. That's when I saw the first black SUV turn onto our street. No markings, windows tinted. It moved slowly, deliberately, like it was looking for something, or someone. I backed away from the door and went to find Lisa in the kitchen. "We need to power everything down. Now." She must have heard the seriousness in my voice because she didn't argue. We unplugged the TV, turned off our phones, shut down the Wi-Fi router. I helped Jack power down his devices while Lisa went through the house unplugging smart speakers, tablets, anything wireless. By 8:15, our house was completely dark in terms of electronics, just like when I was a kid in the 90s. The silence was unsettling. We sat at the kitchen table eating cereal that none of us wanted, listening to the helicopters pass overhead and trying to pretend this was all normal for Jack's sake. "Mom, Dad, what's happening?" he finally asked. Smart kid. Too smart to buy our act. We don't know yet, buddy, I answered honestly. The government sent an alert asking everyone to stay inside and wait for more instructions. So that's what we're doing. Is it because of the thing in the sky? He asked. Lisa and I exchanged looks. What thing in the sky, Jack? Lisa asked, her voice carefully neutral. The black spot. I saw it from my bedroom window before you came up. There's a big black circle in the sky over downtown. My blood ran cold. What do you mean, a black circle? Like someone took an eraser and just erased part of the sky. It's just black. Not like nighttime black. Like nothing there black. I wanted to run upstairs and look, but the alert's warning about windows held me back. Don't observe flyovers. Don't record. At 8:37, I remember checking my watch. We heard the first explosion, distant but powerful enough to make the windows rattle. Then another, and another. Jack started crying. Lisa pulled him into her lap even though he was too big for it. I sat there, useless, my mind racing through possibilities. Terrorist attack? Military exercise gone wrong? Some kind of industrial accident? None of it made sense. Cedar Rapids isn't a strategic target. We have the airport, sure, and some factories, but nothing that would warrant whatever this was. The explosions continued, getting closer. The house shook with each one. Dishes rattled in cabinets. A picture fell off the wall and shattered. Then, as suddenly as it started, the explosions stopped. The silence that followed was worse somehow, until we heard the screaming. Not close, maybe a few blocks away, but unmistakable. Human screams of pure terror. Then car crashes, more screaming. What sounded like gunshots, but could have been transformers blowing. And underneath it all, a low, constant hum that I could feel in my teeth. We retreated to the basement. I grabbed our emergency kit, flashlights, batteries, first aid supplies, some non-perishable food, and water, and we huddled in the corner furthest from the small basement windows. Jack was quiet now, shock setting in. Lisa kept stroking his hair, whispering that everything would be okay. Another sound joined the chaos outside, a voice through what had to be military-grade loudspeakers, too distorted to make out words. The message repeated several times, moving down our street. At 8:55, someone pounded on our front door, hard enough to echo through the entire house. We froze. The pounding came again, more insistent. Mr. Nowak? Mrs. Nowak? This is Captain Reynolds with the National Guard. We're delivering your instruction packet. Please acknowledge receipt. I looked at Lisa. The alert said we'd receive an instruction packet by 900 hours. But it also said not to answer the door for anyone, regardless of uniform or identification. The pounding continued. Mr. Nowak, we can see that you're inside. You need to acknowledge receipt of these instructions. This is your final warning. I made a decision. I left Lisa and Jack in the basement and crept upstairs. Through the peephole, I could see a man in military fatigues, face mask, and full tactical gear. He was holding a large yellow envelope. Behind him were two more soldiers and one of those black SUVs. I hear you, I called through the door. But the alert said not to open the door for anyone. There was a pause. The alert said not to open the door. It didn't say not to acknowledge. Take the packet from your mail slot. I hadn't even thought about our mail slot. I looked down, and sure enough, the yellow envelope was already halfway through it. I picked it up. My name and address were printed on it, along with a QR code and a string of numbers. I have it, I said. Good. Do not open it until exactly 9:30. You will be notified. The voice paused. Stay inside, Mr. Nowak. Whatever you do, stay inside. I heard them walk away, their boots heavy on our front path. The SUV's engine started, and then they were gone. I brought the envelope down to the basement. It was heavier than I expected, and something inside shifted when I moved it. What is it? Lisa asked. Instructions, I guess. We're supposed to open it at 9:30. We waited in the basement, listening to the chaos outside gradually die down. The screaming stopped. The explosions didn't return. Even the helicopters seemed to have moved on. At 9:28, our power went out. At 9:30 exactly, a different kind of alert sound came from the envelope itself. A high-pitched beep that repeated 3 times. I tore it open. Inside was a gas mask. Just one, adult-sized, and a single sheet of paper with a map of Cedar Rapids. Certain areas were marked in red, others in yellow, most in green. Our neighborhood was yellow. Downtown, where Jack had seen the black spot, was deep red. At the bottom of the page was a typed message. Containment protocol active, quarantine perimeter established. Red zones, lost, do not attempt entry. Yellow zones, partial exposure, shelter in place, use provided protection in case of sensory events. Green zones, evacuation in progress. Remain in your home. One authorized occupant must maintain awareness at all times. Use provided equipment when necessary. Do not look directly at any aerial phenomena. Do not respond to familiar voices outside your home. Do not attempt to reach red zones or assist those within them. Further instructions will follow. 1 gas mask, 3 people in our family. Before I could process what this meant, the ground shook with the most violent tremor yet. Dust rained down from the ceiling. Lisa grabbed Jack, covering him with her body. When it stopped, I heard something new. Movement on our street. Not vehicles. Something else. Something dragging itself heavily across the pavement. And voices. Familiar voices calling my name, Lisa's name, Jack's name, our neighbors, our friends, my brother, who lives 90 miles away. Don't answer, I whispered, even though Lisa and Jack weren't making a sound. Don't make a sound. The voices continued, pleading now, crying, begging us to come outside to help them. Mrs. Wallace's voice, please anyone, they're taking us, they're inside us. Dean from next door, no whack, I know you're in there, open the door, they're coming. Then Jack's best friend Tyler, Jack, help me, it hurts Jack, it's inside me. I clamped my hand over Jack's mouth as he instinctively started to respond. I shook my head violently. His eyes were wide with confusion and terror. The voices continued for hours, circling our house, sometimes right outside the basement windows. We could see shadows moving across the glass, distorted and wrong. At 2:17 in the afternoon, another tremor hit, harder than the last. One of the small basement windows cracked but held. After that, silence. Complete silence for another hour. That's when I decided I needed to find out what was happening. I told Lisa I was going to check upstairs, see if I could get any information. Don't you dare, she hissed. You read the instructions. We can't just sit here forever, I argued. We need to know what's happening. We have 1 fucking gas mask for 3 people. What are we supposed to do with that? She didn't have an answer. I crept upstairs and found my phone where I'd left it on the kitchen counter. I powered it up, breaking protocol, half expecting it not to work. But it did. No service, no Wi-Fi, but it turned on. Which is how I'm able to type this now, hidden in my utility closet where Lisa can't see the light from my screen. I don't know what's out there. I don't know what happened to our neighbors, whose voices we heard calling to us in ways that couldn't possibly be real. I don't know what Jack saw in the sky, but I know this. Whatever is happening, it's beyond anything we've ever prepared for. The quarantine zones, the 1 gas mask, the warning about sensory events and not responding to familiar voices. This isn't a natural disaster. It's not a terrorist attack. It's something else. The sun is going down now. Through the tiny closet window, I can see the sky turning orange. Beautiful, except for one section directly above downtown. A perfect circle of absolute blackness. Not dark clouds, not smoke, just absence. A hole in reality. And it's growing. I'm going to send this if I can find any connectivity. Someone needs to know what's happening here. If you're reading this and you're outside the affected zones, stay away. If you're inside 681, 682, or 683 zip codes and you haven't received an alert yet, get out. Drive as far and as fast as you can. I have to go. This is my last update for now. God help us all. I don't know how much time I have left. It's been 6 hours since my last update. The sun is long gone. No street lights, no house lights, nothing. Just the moon, which looks dimmer, more distant than it should. After my last message, I went back to the basement. Lisa and Jack were huddled together in the corner. Jack asleep, Lisa looking up at me with bloodshot eyes. "Where the fuck were you?" she whispered. "Checking the house," I lied. "Making sure all the windows are secure." She stared at me, then nodded. I could tell she didn't believe me. That's when I noticed the gas mask hanging loosely around her neck. "Why do you have that on?" "Just in case," she said. "You were gone so long. There was a noise from upstairs, like water running, but thicker, and a dragging sound. I felt my skin crawl. Did Jack hear it? He fell asleep before it started." I sat down next to them. "We should take shifts. I'll take first watch." Lisa nodded, curling closer to Jack. Within minutes, she was asleep too. I sat in the dark, listening. Nothing at first. Then came the vibration, not like an earthquake, more like a massive machine starting up underground. A low hum that I could feel in my teeth, my skull, my chest. It made thinking difficult. Then came the voices again, Mrs. Wallace and Dean and others calling for help, begging to be let in. But there was something new in their voices. They sounded synchronized somehow, even though the words were different. I covered my ears, but the voices seemed to bypass them, speaking directly into my head. "Kevin, it's so beautiful out here. You don't understand what you're missing. Kevin, it wants to help us. It's fixing us. Kevin, your family needs this. You all need to be fixed." The voices continued for hours, growing more desperate. Then, just after midnight, they stopped abruptly. That's when the scratching started. Inside the house, above us. Slow, methodical scratching, like fingernails on hardwood, or claws. The scratching continued, moving from room to room, exactly like something searching. I must have fallen asleep, because the next thing I knew, Lisa was shaking me awake. "Kevin, wake up." I jerked upright. "What time is it?" 4 in the morning, I think. My watch stopped. She pointed upward. "The scratching stopped about an hour ago, but now there's something new." I listened and caught it, a soft, wet sound, like someone repeatedly swallowing, coming from directly above us. "It's been doing that for 20 minutes, Lisa whispered. "And listen carefully. There's something else." Behind the swallowing sound was another noise, a woman's voice speaking softly, as if reading from something. "Acceptable casualties in sectors 70 through 96. Probability of full containment now at 12%. Civilian exposure rates exceeding projected models. Facility breach confirmed at 2342. My blood ran cold. It sounded like a radio broadcast, but we had no power, no functioning electronics. "What the fuck is that?" Lisa mouthed. I made a decision. "I need to see what's going on." Lisa grabbed my arm, her nails drawing blood. "No, please don't leave us again." "I don't have a choice, Lisa. I need to know what the hell is going on up there." Her face crumpled. "Please don't go up there." "I'm just going to look. 5 minutes. I'll take the mask, check around, and come right back." She hesitated, then handed me the mask. 5 minutes. If you're not back, I'm coming after you." I secured the mask over my face and crept up the basement stairs, pushing open the door to our kitchen. The house was different. The layout was the same, but everything seemed distorted. The kitchen counter curved where it should have been straight. The ceiling sagged in places. And most disturbing, A thin film of something dark covered every surface. It looked like oil, but moved like it was alive, pulsing in random patterns. The broadcast voice was louder here, coming from the dark substance on the walls. Recommend immediate termination of observation Team Alpha. Multiple dimensional overlaps detected. Structural integrity of barriers holding at 4%. I made my way to the front door. Through the small window beside it, I could see our street, or what was left of it. The houses were still there, but melted. Sections of walls and roofs were simply gone, replaced by the same darkness Jack had described seeing in the sky. And there were shapes moving in the street. Not people, not animals. Things that made my eyes hurt to look at. Some were small, skittering things that moved in jerking stop-motion paths. Others were larger, lumbering forms that seemed to be made of multiple bodies fused together. But most terrifying were the ones that still looked human. Mrs. Wallace's arms hung to her knees, fingers dragging on the pavement. Mr. Peterson's torso had split open from sternum to navel, teeth growing along the edges of the wound. The Miller twins were joined at the shoulder, their skin bubbling and reforming constantly. Each had black patches on their skin, the same oily substance that covered my house. But on them, it seemed to have burrowed in, replaced parts of them. As I watched, they formed a circle in the street. In the center was a perfect circle of absolute darkness in the ground, the same blackness that was in the sky. They began to lower things into it. Objects I couldn't identify. Machinery, perhaps. Or bodies. I was so focused on the scene that I almost missed the sound behind me, that soft swallowing noise. I turned slowly. Lisa stood in the doorway, but it wasn't Lisa. Not anymore. Her eyes were gone, replaced by smooth patches of skin. Her mouth stretched so wide it began tearing at the corners, blood trickling down her chin. The black substance writhed across her body, concentrating around her gaping mouth and the empty eye sockets. "Kevin," she said, her voice normal despite her torn mouth. "Why did you leave us? We needed to be together for the transition." I stumbled backward. "Where's Jack?" She tilted her head until I heard the vertebrae in her neck pop and crack. "Jack is with me, inside me. We're together now. You should join us." She took a step toward me. The black substance flowed faster around her mouth, forming what looked like moving teeth. Blood and saliva dripped onto the floor in thick strings. "It just wants to help us, Kevin. It's fixing what's broken in us." "Stay back," I said, fumbling for the doorknob. "You're not Lisa." She smiled, the motion ripping her cheeks further, the tears extending almost to her ears. "I'm more Lisa than I ever was before. I understand now. About the hole they opened. About what came through. What is it? What came through the hole? The future, Kevin. Our future. The next stage of evolution. It's been waiting for so long, just on the other side of reality. All it needed was an invitation." I twisted the doorknob. The door didn't open. "You don't want to go out there," it said. "They're all changing too. The whole sector, the whole state soon, then the country, then everything." She was almost on me now. I could smell her, a sickly sweet chemical odor that burned my nostrils even through the mask. "What about the government? The military? They sent instructions. They're trying to contain this." It laughed, blood bubbling between her stretched lips. "They made this, Kevin. They opened the door. Project Blackwall. Dimensional barrier research. They thought they were just looking through a window to another reality." Her mouth stretched wider, flesh tearing audibly. But windows work both ways. Something looked back, and it liked what it saw. She reached for me with elongated fingers, knuckles bulging and splitting the skin. "Take off the mask, Kevin. Let me put it inside you too." I ducked under her arms and ran for the kitchen. Behind me, she made a sound that pierced my eardrums. a high-pitched keening like ice picks in my skull. I skidded into the kitchen and froze. Jack stood by the back door. But not my boy. Not anymore. The black substance covered him entirely except for his face, which was eerily untouched. His expression was calm, peaceful. "Dad," he said, his voice echoing strangely. "Don't be scared. It doesn't hurt. It's like falling asleep and having the best dream ever." "Please, Dad," Jack said. "Mom's already with me. We're waiting for you." Lisa's twisted form appeared behind him, her body barely recognizable. The black substance had reshaped her, molded her into something that only vaguely resembled a human. Her limbs bent at new joints, her torso bulged with movement under the skin. "Last chance, Kevin," the thing said, voice gurgling through a throat filled with fluid. "Join us willingly." I looked at my son's face, still so perfect, so untouched, and my heart broke. Whatever this thing was, it knew enough to leave his face recognizable, to use it as a lure. "I love you, Jack," I said, my voice breaking. "The real you." Something flickered in his eyes. Then I lunged for the basement door, slammed it behind me, and threw the bolt. They began pounding on it. The door shuddered in its frame. Wood splintered near the hinges. I ran down the stairs. The basement had no exits, no windows big enough to crawl through. I was trapped. I ducked into the utility closet, pulled the door shut, and wedged myself between the water heater and wall. In the darkness, I pulled out my phone, the only source of light I had. That's when I noticed something strange. The phone had no service, no Wi-Fi, but there was a new icon in the status bar. A small black circle, pulsing gently, and the screen was showing a message. "Signal detected. Connecting to emergency broadcast network." Then, words began to appear. User identified, Kevin Nowak. Location, Sector 73, F, Yellow Zone. Status, uncompromised. Emergency protocol, active. Containment failed. Nationwide alert imminent. Remain in place. Maintain filter protection. Do not remove mask under any circumstances. Last defense protocol, activating at 0500 hours. I checked the time on my phone. 4:42 in the morning. The basement door gave way with a splintering crash. I heard them enter, their wet movements on the cement floor. "Kevin?" Lisa called, her voice now a chorus of multiple tones. "We know you're down here. We can smell you. Your fear. Your humanity." The phone screen changed again. Warning, compromise imminent. Asset in danger. Protocol alteration authorized. Kevin Nowak, listen carefully. The mask you wear contains more than filtration. Find the red switch inside the left filter housing. Activate when they find you. This is your only option. My trembling fingers found the edge of the left filter. I pried open a small panel with my fingernail. Inside was a tiny red switch. "Found you," Jack's voice came from right outside the closet door. "We missed you, Dad." The handle turned. The door began to open. "Oh, Kevin," Lisa's voice joined in, wet and thick. "We're going to make you so beautiful." I pressed the red switch. The mask tightened against my face, sealing completely. A hissing sound filled my ears as gas was released inside the mask. It smelled like burned metal and tasted like copper. The door swung open. Jack stood there, black oil now creeping up to cover his face. Behind him, Lisa loomed, her body a grotesque sculpture of twisted limbs and exposed sinew. "Too late," I tried to say, but my voice wasn't working anymore. My vision began to blur. The last thing I saw was the two of them backing away from me, as if suddenly afraid. The phone in my hand buzzed one final time. Purge protocol activated. Biomass saturation, 87%. Estimated survival probability, 3%. Thank you for your service, Mr. Nowak. Then nothing but darkness. I woke up to the sound of helicopters, many of them. I was still in the utility closet. The mask was looser now, no longer sealed tight. My entire body burned like I had the worst fever of my life. My skin felt raw, like it had been scrubbed with steel wool. I checked my phone. Dead. I pushed open the closet door. The basement was empty except for the bodies. Lisa and Jack lay on the floor, limbs splayed at natural angles. They looked normal, human. Their skin clean of any black substance. But they were clearly dead. Their faces frozen in agony, blood dried around their eyes, nostrils, mouths. Whatever had infected them was gone, but it had taken their lives with it. I fell to my knees beside them, a scream building in my throat that never made it past my lips. Above, I could hear movement. Heavy boots on the floor, voices calling out in clipped professional tones. House clear. 2 casualties in the basement. We've got a survivor, masked individual utility closet. The basement door crashed open, and figures in black hazmat suits rushed down, weapons raised. Kevin Nowak, one called out. Are you Kevin Nowak? I nodded weakly. Mask functioning properly? I nodded again. Good. Do not remove it. We're taking you out of here. 2 of them grabbed me under the arms, lifted me to my feet. I tried to gesture toward Lisa and Jack. I'm sorry, the leader said. They're gone. The purge protocol kills anything infected. You survived because the mask protected you. They didn't have that protection. Outside, the sky was still dark. The blackness had spread, just as Jack had said it would. A perfect circle of nothingness was directly overhead, larger than yesterday. Sir, I managed to croak. What is that thing? The hazmat leader paused. Dimensional breach. Something from elsewhere found a way through. We opened the door with our research and it forced its way in. Been trying to contain it for 48 hours, but it's growing too fast. Can you stop it? A bitter laugh. With what? It absorbs energy. Every bomb makes it stronger. It feeds on the biomass it converts. The last resort was the purge protocol, gas that kills infected tissue. We've been distributing it through special masks to key personnel. Key personnel? I'm a fucking insurance adjuster. Not anymore. Now you're an asset. One of the few who survived the purge. Makes you valuable. Your system rejected the infection completely. They led me outside. The street was filled with military vehicles. Soldiers moved from house to house. Body bags were being loaded into trucks. In the distance, a massive wall was being erected. Metal and concrete, stretching as far as I could see. Containment barrier, the leader explained. We're writing off everything inside this zone, sealing it. As they loaded me into a helicopter, I caught one final glimpse of my house. The black circle in the sky was directly above it, and the roof was dissolving, being drawn upward into the darkness. Through the window, I could see more circles, dozens of them in the sky, scattered across the landscape. All growing. The leader handed me a tablet showing a map of the United States. Red dots pulsed in various locations, spreading to both coasts. This is happening everywhere, he said quietly. We can't stop it. I looked down at my hands. They were trembling, but what caught my attention was my skin. Tiny black specks had appeared, barely visible, like freckles or spores. I've locked myself in the helicopter bathroom. They're pounding on the door, shouting about protocol and containment. They were wrong about me. I'm not immune. They don't understand that it's too late. For me. For them. For everyone. The black specks are spreading, joining together. I can feel it moving under my skin now, working its way toward my heart, my brain. It feels cold. So cold. This will be my final update. I'm sending it to every contact in this phone. If you're reading this, it's already in your area. It may already be in you. The alerts on your phone aren't errors. The instructions aren't optional. And when you see the black circles in the sky, don't look directly at them. Don't answer the door. Don't trust familiar voices. Goodbye.